Today, I'm going to talk about how me and Brett made $21,000 on a novation in Dover, Delaware. I'm going to tell you how we found the lead and how we ended up solving the seller's problem, even though it was not an easy deal to do, to say the least. So if you're not familiar with me, I've been a full-time real estate investor now for 10 years. I've done over 350 properties. I own a bunch of rentals, and I have a lot of experience in this business. So if you get value from this, do me a favor. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you can like the video and subscribe, it would really mean a lot to me. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, if you can share the show with someone else, that's how we keep growing the show on a weekly basis. So this property in Dover, Delaware came from a direct mail campaign. We mailed inherited properties, and the owner ended up calling us up. And they wanted to sell their manufactured home in a park, which we normally don't touch, but in this specific community in Dover, it's actually a really nice community. You could barely tell they're manufactured homes. So we were able to go on an appointment. Brett saw the house, he met with the owner, and ended up being more of like a follow-up situation. But at the end of the day, what ended up happening, we put the property under contract. The owner wanted a specific dollar amount, so we told the owner that in order for us to get you that number, we need to be able to take the property direct to retail, and we can't just like pay cash for the property. So we got an agreement that allowed us to get the housing contract at a specific number and then put the property on the market with a realtor that we would pay, and we would pay all the costs and stuff associated with it, and she was going to net a specific dollar amount at the closing. So that's what we did, put the house up on the market. And we got absolute no momentum in the beginning. No momentum whatsoever. And I thought this was going to fly off the shelf. But I realized that the reason it wasn't selling is, number one, it's a manufactured home. Those always take longer to sell. And number two, it was in a park. So you had to pay lot rent in order to live there. So not only does some person have to pay for the property, either cash or with a mortgage, but then every single month they have three expenses. They have insurance on the trailer itself. They have property taxes, because in Dover and I think in the state of Delaware, even if you have a manufactured home and it's in a park, you still have property taxes, which is a bummer. And then also you got to pay the lot rent. So you got to pay, to rent the land. So you got more overhead than the typical, manufactured home that's on land. So we realized that, and that's why it wasn't selling. So we ultimately had to do a bunch of price reductions, and we had to actually do a small price reduction with the owner because we were going to literally lose money in our original price. And we explained it to the owner, and she understood it, and we were transparent about it, and we were showing her the information. So we ended up getting a reasonable price reduction from her. She was happy with it. Finally found a buyer, and the way that we structured it was the buyer ended up paying cash. We still did a novation agreement, which means that we just got paid a fee to basically get our contract replaced with the new contract. That's the novation in a nutshell. Instead of an assignment, it's a replacement. And it ended up closing. We ended up moving the seller down to Maryland from Dover, which was like a 2-hour ride. So we paid for like a moving company for her. We made it really easy. We paid a notary to go out and get the paperwork signed. But it was a fairly simple process for the owner, and she ended up getting a number that she was happy with. And at the end of the day, when all the chips settled, we walked away with $21,000 to basically novate a property. So what are some lessons that you can learn from this deal that you can apply in your business? So if you get leads like this, you can capitalize on them and have it be a win-win situation. Well, number one, be weary of properties in parks, right? If you're going to buy a property in a park, number one, you got to make sure that there's real comparable sales to justify what you're going to sell it for. Number two, you got to make sure that you know the days on market, because I didn't pay attention to that, and the property ended up sitting for like 2.5 months. So the days on market was way higher than I thought. And I thought there was an issue with the economy in Dover when there really wasn't. It was just the fact that it was a manufactured home in a community with lot rent, which usually results in, longer sales cycles with inventory, which is in this case houses. And there's also a bunch of other comps that were similar to ours that still weren't selling. So, it's not like we were like standing out from a price standpoint. But at the end of the day, if you keep dropping the price on any house you're flipping or novating or wholesaling, or even if you're a realtor, if you keep dropping the price, eventually it will sell. The real estate market is extremely efficient. There's always a number that someone would be willing to pay for a property. It might not be the number you want, but there is a number. So if you're having an issue selling your property, number one, get feedback from your agent. And number two, do small, reasonable price reductions somewhat consistently, not like all in a week. And then that basically shows the market that you're interested in selling it and you're willing to entertain offers. And in this case, I think we had 2 offers, and we took the best one because it was cash, the best terms at least. I think they had to actually sell their property to buy this one, but it ended up working out. We're able to really make it as easy process for the seller. $21,000 on a house we didn't have to close on isn't bad. So that is the lesson from the Dover, Delaware novation. If you are in Delaware, or you're in Washington State, or you're in the Hudson Valley part of New York, and you have a house you want to wholesale to me or wholesale with me or novate it with me, send me an email, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com, or you can send me an Instagram DM at grego37, and I'll see you on the next real estate deal breakdown. Take care.